We'd just like to introduce Stephen Brown. Stephen is going to talk on social media when it's not so social and making the most of the media through social media business.
Yeah. Good afternoon. You're all nice and away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody a wee bit tired after lunch?
No,
No, that's good. No sleepers. My name's Stephen Brown. I do a few things. My main activity business is coasteering, where we jump off cliffs. People pay us to jump off cliffs, which is quite good. But I also do a little bit of sort of social media training and consultancy, and just to help people out in general. But I'm giving two real case studies: handling a conflict on your business page and winning, if you can, and using images to boost your Facebook presence. And the first one that I'm going to do is a wee bit text heavy, because it's actually on a thread. It's on Facebook. Everything is still there, so you can go back and read through it. Some of it's quite entertaining. But I started work on the 2nd of May for the John Mulholland Motor Group, and the first status I did for them was, did you know that we donate £10 from every car sold to Northern Ireland Children's Hospice? I thought that was a fair enough comment. It ended up 36 likes, 51 comments. It was met with this first response, a measly tenner, to which I replied, to date we have raised £18,638, which was quite a bit, I thought. That's brilliant and fair play, but I don't think a £10 donation from a car sale of thousands of pounds is something to brag about. It should be at least £50. Now, I don't want to go through everything, and there's a lot of the comments that I haven't actually included in this. But what ensued was this guy really wasn't happy at all about it, and that really sets the tone of what happened. And it continued on. So you can see I started at 1:37. Now this was the first post that I did for that company. I shot myself. Once it went up, I picked up the phone, phoned the guy that employed me. He didn't answer the phone. I texted him, I messaged him on Facebook, I emailed him, and I was going, please, please, please. And there was no response from him. And eventually he came on the phone, what's happening on Facebook? And by this stage now I had actually written this, but I hadn't posted it. So I wanted to make sure, because obviously he's my client, I need to make sure he's happy with it, especially as we have somebody that seems to be out for a bit of a fight. So we ended up sticking up this response, which I thought was fairly civilized, sort of set the tone of everything. That'll make it go away. On to slide 2. It didn't really go away, but this is where it all got a wee bit interesting. The client kept saying, try and squash this, try and squash this. He said, can we message the guy and ask him to speak to us privately? And I said, the only way we can do that is if I use my personal profile or use your personal profile, and I don't want either of us to be doing that. So we just need to try and manage it. But what happened then was other people were chipping in. They were saying, that's brilliant, John Mulholland Motors. And we had other people then that, for example, God, and he names the person, would have to be a dairyman. I didn't write that, even though I'm from Strabane and we do slag dairy people, but it wasn't me. Take a bow, red or big sun, lots of businesses. And so it went on. And what you actually had then was other people were chipping in and telling this guy, listen, this is not on. And they were then doing the work for me, which was great. And my client was laughing away. You can see there's a number of different ones. Now the thing, and this is the thing you need to be careful about, you can see that has not been liked, that has not been liked, that has not been liked, but they were being liked. My client was actually liking these comments, and I was running about them unliking them, because obviously we agree with what they're saying, you know, but we can't be taking sides, and it's very, very, very important that you remember that. It ended up, then we had, people talk about trolls on social media, so if we take this guy was a bit of a troll, he was really just out for a row, nothing else. We then actually had, well, this is the same person all the way through here, who was then attacking him with not necessarily very useful comments. Sorry for your loss, Derry. Again, you can see none of those were liked. But we did get some people chipping in with good sense. If only you knew how much is made on a car sale nowadays. As a car dealer myself, I can promise you it's far from thousands, more like a few hundred. So you can see those, and we did like those because they weren't condemning the guy. They were actually being reasonably factual or of a theory that wasn't offending. We, a couple of times, tried to show them we were sorry, and named them there by mistake. That ended up being our very last post that we made, which was at 10 to 9. So my first day working with this client, posted just after 1 o'clock. I ended up on Facebook all day, 8 hours of work, making sure that this was all managed and looked after. The argument continued overnight. People were having a go at the guy, he was having a go at other people. It continued on into the next day, but we didn't have to do anything else. We had said our piece, and as long as people weren't threatening violence or people around to his house and knock him out, it was okay. A few learning points. Well, in my case, be prepared that your first response may be defensive. If somebody has a go at you, the first thing you do is you get defensive. So you actually need to sit back, and it was good. My client actually said to me, the good thing about it was me responding. There was a few times my client texted me responses that he wanted to write. Some of them were really, really entertaining, but they weren't used in the end up. You do need to remember 9.9 times out of 10, there's a real person there, and they actually might have, it may be a real issue. You know, in many ways I can see exactly where the guy was coming from. I can see what his point was. Don't have to agree with it, but there is a real person there, and that's why I made sure that we unliked the comments that were sort of slating him then, because from a company's point of view, they still needed to be walking along on a clean path. Listen and listen carefully. Some of this is really common sense, I think. Look for areas of agreement. Be honest, be attentive. Anybody got business pages? Yeah. Do you notice that sometimes comments are all over the place? Do you know why? No. Facebook weights comments, so you know the way recently, if somebody comments below your post and then you can actually reply below that, like into that comment thread, they weight those comments, so that's why they become higgledy-piggledy. And this is Facebook's theory that it makes everything more social, but it actually makes it really difficult for you to try and understand everything or keep on top of it. In settings, you can go in there and turn off replies. It means people can still reply to your comments, but it keeps everything in order then for you. Accept the support of your fans at the right time, again, at the right time. Be sincere, and even if the person does not meet you halfway or better, at least your other fans will have your back and know you're doing your best. And that's the way it ended up. The page got new fans that day, and there was just a general good feeling of support for John Mulholland Motors. So, what time?
20 minutes.
Perfect. So using images to boost your Facebook presence. If you go into the statistics in between your page, there's a number of different things. And this is a photograph album titled Sunday 19th of May. There's 70 people talking about this, and that's on, that page is about 550 likes, and the virality of it is 7.97%. There was somebody speaking earlier on in this room who talked about how much people talk about your page, and saying that I think it was something like 5% was the quote, that was less than 5% of people are talking on any pages. That's nonsense. This page, last week, with 540 likes and 280 people talking about it during the week. So I think you can't generalise these things. I'm quite lucky with this because it is photographs that I get to use in it, and I know it works. The reach, so 540 people like it, but beyond that you have the reach of 1,349, and there are 279 engaged users on the page. But what is it? sometimes whenever you're sharing things, you need to think about what do you share if you're on Facebook. I know sometimes I do share stuff like this. Some of my friends will say they share shit, but I actually like things like this here. And I think if you can think about what is it that you share, apart from like and share competitions, do not do like and share competitions. But what is it? What sort of photographs do you share? Try them, because they might go out a wee bit further. So that one there ended up with, I didn't read that. I think it was 110 shares, I think, off the page. Quite a lot of people liked it. There's another one that I did on another page that I used to run. 239 shares. So those people were sharing and sharing, and it was going out wider and wider. Doesn't mean when people share a photograph around these 239 people, doesn't mean that all of them are then going to go, oh, I must go and like that page. It just means that your name's out there a wee bit further. Some people might, a lot of them definitely won't. There's absolutely no way that even 5% of the people that shared that will have liked the page as somebody new just coming against, or coming into contact with the page. Do you know this guy's name? George Takei. George, some of his, this is his most shared photograph that he stuck up, Famous Failures. 109,947 shares, which is quite a lot, but I'm going to try and show you something here now. It's a wee bit hard to see this. I don't know how it works. But this is basically this photograph being shared. This is on a website called Facebook Stories. And we're only seeing a tiny fraction of it, it goes all over there. But it shares and it shares and it shares. And sometimes whenever a photograph, because whatever goes on Facebook stays on Facebook, sometimes you can see these extra splurges coming out where they grow out quite strong. The white ones are where they peter out. Sometimes it just needs to get into a different circle of people, and then it just goes again like wildfire. And there's a couple of different ones on there. So some of the sort of things that I shared, one of the first things that I learned about Facebook about 4.5 years ago when I started using it for business is that people are nosy. And if you run a business, people like to know what you get up to in your business. Not about what you sell or how you can make their life better or how you can curl their hair or whatever that might be. They like to know what's going on behind your business. So sometimes I've stuck up, in the past I've stuck up pictures of the store where we keep all the wetsuits and buoyancy aids. It could be just having a team meeting and having a coffee. It can be anything. People like that stuff. Now, just because I'm saying that, that doesn't mean if you stick that up that everybody's going to go, oh, and that's brilliant and like it. Because you need to experiment. You need to try new things. That's why down here, I say don't give up. Photographs, definitely, and there was research done this year, photographs on the internet, on Facebook were the fastest way of sharing pages. What's happening more and more is that it's video. People are using video more. Lots of things up here. A few things that you can think about. People like to laugh, so if you can post something that's funny, it doesn't have to be at your own expense or at somebody else's.
Sorry, it's just in relation to Irish sense of humour. Would you be quiet at using or hold back and using sarcasm all that much? You know, because other nationalities don't really get it.
It depends on your business, or I think it depends on your business and your customer base. I think you need to just keep it generic almost, you know, but you'll know your customer or who likes your page better than I would. It has to be, you know, like humour. It's, you know, I wouldn't stick up, like I'll swear in real life, but I wouldn't stick up something about swearing, you know, and things like that. But something that's humorous will get shared, or potentially get shared. Kittens are the most photographed animal on the internet. cute, cuddly kittens, and if you can think of a way of engaging a kitten into something that you want to try and get across with your business, that might well work for you. Don't sell, so don't keep sticking up photographs, I don't know, with whatever product that you have, and keep sticking up photographs of it with prices and price cuts on it, because people switch off to that. That's not what it's about. Yeah, we can leave it at that.
There's no box.
There is no box. Well, people always talk about think outside the box and just saying there's no box. You know, just well, I think if you're using Facebook, or well, we'll just leave it, keep it to Facebook. If you're using Facebook and you're prepared to fail by trying different things, you'll eventually work out what works well for you. I do believe that any business can have and should have some sort of presence in as many ways as possible. And people will say to you, no, you can't, don't use Facebook if it's B2B, or they'll give you reasons why your business won't work. People say to me, oh, you're really lucky, you've got lots of photographs of people doing things. It's only because I learned that I did things, and there's lots of things that I've done that haven't worked, but I just keep on at it. So there's no box really. So, any questions?
I just wondered, the last guy that you referred to said that Coca-Cola had huge sort of millions of people liking on social media, and it was just a straight graph in terms of people buying Coca-Cola. In terms of John Mulholland Motors, in terms of your Facebook page and all that sort of traction that was going on there, I mean, did he measure it in terms of how many cars he sold, or just in
Well,
brand
it's too early to say. What I can tell you, like some figures, like for Coasteering NI, which is mostly what I do, most of my sales come from online, and it's through Facebook, and it's through the website. The website takes online bookings now as well. But you know, whenever I first set up the adventure team back in 2009, a large portion of the sales came through social media, and that doubled, trebled nearly in year 2, and that's because I have worked out what works for my business, and that is the photographs. So whenever I have a group of people out doing activities, I make sure they're photographed. I encourage them to tag each other in the photographs, and those photographs are spread out then among their own friends that they're connected to on Facebook. So it definitely does work for me. It's too early for John Mulholland Motors, but it is about keeping the brand out there. And I think that's an important thing, just because you may not get any sales this year, you might get sales next year because you've got the brand out there. The reason I got engaged with John Mulholland Motors is because they were inconsistent. They would post one week and then post nothing for another week, whereas now there's posts going up every single day. And what has actually happened is I'm now able to step back from that because they've got into the habit of posting every day.
Hi, Steve. More a comment rather than a question. And it's in relation to social media for small businesses. So businesses like mine that maybe don't go more than 50 miles from their location, from the location of the business. I think one of the things that you can use social media for is in relation to the interaction with real people in real life. So if you have a social media profile, whether it be Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and you're following what people are doing, and you see that they're going to events such as this, use those opportunities to actually give them an opportunity to meet you face to face, because sometimes some of the strongest network building comes from people who've been following you for a while on social media, actually getting the opportunity to meet you in real life, shake your hand, say hello, and have a chat.
The other thing was, I think that we do have a tendency to say, did the Facebook interaction generate any sales? But the reality is the Facebook interaction also feeds into the SEO. So it's a much bigger picture than the one conversation on the one platform. Because, again, it's what's going to knock you. It's natural, it's not bad. And that's going to
The other point about social media is, even if you aren't seeing the direct sales immediately, you are creating a reputation for yourself out there, and people will start to recognise you as a leader or an expert in the particular field that you're in. So that in itself can help build a longer term reputation and eventual sales.
Yeah. Yeah, I was at a networking event a couple of weeks ago and sitting at a table with 5 or 6 people and was asked who all does what, and I said, oh yeah, I run a company called We Take People Jumping Off Cliffs. And the girl was like, oh, that's Coasterian. And I said, yeah, the company's Coasterian. And I said, oh, I follow your page on Facebook, you know, so it is good because the brand that I didn't know the woman from Adam.
And Stephen, you talked about, liking and sharing, what tool do you use? The way liking and sharing isn't supposed to be done on Facebook in terms of competition. What tool do you use for that?
I don't run any Facebook or competitions on Facebook anymore. Any time that I have done, I would have created the competition on my web page and then just posted it onto Facebook.
OfferPop is really good for online Facebook competitions because it allows you to capture any information that you require. So not just problem with likes again, apart from the fact that they're against the terms and conditions of service, is that you actually don't get any information from the person that you can reuse. So you don't get their email address, you don't get their demographic information without trawling through all the likes and shares. OfferPop will take their email address, take their name, take their phone number if you want it,
All that type of
put it all into a database that you can then just reuse straight away.
Is that a paid for one?
I think it's free, I'm not 100% sure, but there's other alternatives as well.
Thank you.
Sorry, Steve.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, there's one. I'm launching a website in August, and somebody said don't put up my Facebook page yet until the website is launched.
Why not?
Because there would be nothing on your website.
You can put up your Facebook page if you're
Just
launching.
build up your likes to that.
Yeah, if you're launching the website, there's no reason why you can't get the word out there now that you're launching the website. You can start to build up because you'll already be creating content for the website. Like, I don't know what you're doing, but there's stuff going on in your business already. Just because the website's not there, I would batter on and get going.
Yeah.
I had the same reservation. I've just launched my own website, but I have my Twitter account going at least a month and a half. I know that doesn't sound like a long time, but if you're tweeting 3 or 4 times a day, there was a stream of content that was ready to go up once the website was launched, and it looks better.
Yeah, but you have something.
Yeah.
Another thing about that would be, I had a client that wanted to use their website to direct people to their Facebook page, whereas what really they should be doing, their audience, their client base are 13 to 22-year-olds, so they're always on Facebook, they're always on Twitter. What you can then do is have your page set up and actually use your Facebook page to direct traffic to your website instead of the other way around, because they're already there.
Because if you think about the number of small businesses, laundrettes, that don't have websites at all, and have no intention of websites, but they're still communicating with their customers and potential customers on Facebook or Twitter, whatever it is that they have decided to use. So definitely just get going.
And post at least once a day.
Yeah,
You don't want to be annoying people.
it depends. There's days on Coasterian and there's days where I might have had, there's days where we might have 4 groups out on the same day, and we'll have 4 photo albums going up that evening or the next morning. It just depends what's going on. When I first started using Facebook for business, I tore my hair. Well, yeah, right. I really struggled. It took me a lot of effort to think, what am I going to say today? Now, you couldn't shut me up. John Mulholland Motors engaged me to help them with their Facebook because they couldn't get into the habit. It was hard work for them to think of stuff. It meant I had to do the hard work for them. But they have now, in this last 2 weeks, they have started posting up themselves. So there's things I've got on the post and say, oh, they've already done it for today. And they have got into that habit, and once you get into the habit, it does become quite easy. So, and I'm not answering whether you say 1 or 2 times or 10 times, that's what's going on.
Just on that point, you won't be annoying people if your content's good.
Yeah,
They'll be glad to see it.
Yeah.
Facebook forum.
Maybe I'm just thinking of, I know, I'd like to shop, furniture shop in Innisfree for the pictures of all the products.
Yeah, yeah,
That's,
so it's
that
crap.
won't be the same, but obviously we put a picture of products.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
David, you concentrated on Facebook, but what about the likes of LinkedIn, Twitter?
I only focused on it just because that's what I want to talk about today.
Right.
Like I use LinkedIn, I use...
And how does it compare with for you personally?
Well, for Coastering and I, Facebook is definitely the one that works best. It has, you know, there's a bit of a following there on Twitter, but all the bookings will come through the Facebook or the website. Coastering and I was a brand that I sort of created about a year and a half ago, very much with the view of having a really good online presence. And it does have that, and it brings in the business.
Would you post the same thing on, you know, Facebook, Twitter, you know, the
So, sometimes I have Coastering and I set up that it posts automatically to Twitter, but sometimes we'll go onto Twitter and have chats with different people, you know. But I have 3 different Twitter handles, and I'm trying to work out what to do with myself at the minute. I'm too busy sometimes to manage them all properly, to be fair.
It doesn't get boring or overkill when it's post the same message every
I find most of the time it's different people.
with
It's
it.
a different audience. I do think you shouldn't make everything too automatic though, because if you do have the exact same thing being said on all different platforms, you're probably not really paying attention to the people that are listening.
What's your opinion on the automatic systems that businesses are building for their social media? Oh, you buy this bit of software and it'll do it all for you.
I think for SMEs it's about the connection that you're able to make with your customers. And I think some of these pieces of software that are out there which does, or say it tells you that it'll do everything for you, I doubt it will. And I doubt that you will build the same relationship with your customers. You know, if you walked into your favourite shop someday and there wasn't actually somebody standing there to serve you but just a computer, would you still buy from it? Because I think your personality gets taken out of it. And certainly for small to medium-sized enterprises, your business is a lot about your personality.
That's why it's social media. It's not, you know, the whole point of it is that you're interacting with your customers. You're not, you know, if you're going to use an automated piece of software, then you might as well have an automated phone line. Auto reply email.
Going back to what you're saying, it is a lot about trying to work out what's going to work for your business. I know that literally I could stop using LinkedIn and Twitter for Coastering NI, and Coastering NI won't feel any drop in business because they're not the effective platforms for Coastering NI.
Sorry, for you.
Just for my own information, are you also using traditional media, or are you just looking social?
Yeah, very much about getting out. Coastering NI is mostly up around the north coast, so I do spend time trying to build relationships with accommodation providers up around there. You get out flyers every so often, but I'm trying to do stuff that's different. So I'm looking for a really good idea to have people delivering leaflets, but I want it to be not the normal way. I need something that's eye catching and make people go whoa, because that's what I'm about all the time. Yeah, it's important. You need to do as many things as you can, and don't put all your eggs into one basket. Definitely not.
So would you recommend kind of trying a lot of different platforms and then figuring out what works for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a YouTube channel as well. I used to have a Flickr account. Although for anybody that... Sorry? Yeah, I have a great life. Look at that for a time. Yeah, it is a matter of trying different things. And there's so many new things coming online as well. Catherine Wilson showed me a great app called Vine, where you can take like 10 seconds of video and then it loops itself around. So I'm going to get out with my iPhone someday and video somebody jumping off a cliff and then just have it playing on a loop, which I think would look quite good. There's just so much stuff going on, and yeah, like it's hard to stay on top of it, but try different things, and some things will work best. And it's also important that some things you like using more than others. I got fed up with uploading photographs onto Flickr because it just took for so long, even though Flickr was being well received by Google, and it was helping the inbound traffic to the website. But I hated it; it was doing my head in, so I just stopped doing it.
As far as the platforms go, Google Plus versus Facebook.
I think Google Plus is still very, very busy with businesses and business owners, and not as many, I suppose, potential customers. But it's still another place to connect. There's people that are using it really well. You chatted to Martin Gilchrist about using Hangouts for developing ideas, and ultimately it's Google. You know, who searches for something in Yahoo or anything? So if you've got your stuff going up on Google Plus, Google sees it, and it's the same if any of you blog. Certainly set your blog up with authorship. So on my blog, whenever there's posts, if people are searching for something that's related to Coastair, and I've blogged about it, you'll see my face. You may not want to see my face, but it's coming up there. And if Google are doing it, then you should be doing it. That's the way I look at it.
Okay, that's great. Thanks very much.
Thank you.